Hello and welcome to In the Room, which is a series of free artist talks from wonderful performers from the UK and the US and around the world, exploring the rehearsal, the performance process, and their incredible artistic careers and journeys. I am beyond excited to be joined with Shan Ako, who I had the pleasure of training with many years ago. How are you doing, Shan?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. All is well. It's good to be here. Good,
Good.
as I said, like good to have been conversation with you. But yeah, I'm blessed. I'm feeling great.
That's so
How about
good.
you?
I'm okay. Yeah, it's been a week, but I'm here. I'm here, and I'm
You
yeah.
right?
I'm
You made it
like
to a new day, a new chance.
just so excited just to just have a conversation. And obviously, I've known you for so many years, but why don't you tell all of our viewers like how's the journey been? You know, what was there any like key childhood experiences that or growing up in family that kind of influenced your journey into being a performing artist?
Well, yeah, let's get straight into it. I come from a very musical household. My dad especially, he saw the talent that I had, and
Wow.
even my sister, and he got us like practicing from young and like singing into the camera and just rehearsing,
Yeah.
singing great classic songs from Michael and Whitney and Bob Marley and so on. Sam Cooke, all of those people. And then that was like towards my teenage years, which is which I think like upwards to start training in music or whatever. Then I studied at the Brit School alongside yourself and your
Yeah.
sibling, and yeah, that was a great experience for me because I was able to be surrounded by so much talent. It fueled me to keep going, and I was learning so much. And I've continued that, and it from studying at the Brit School, it sort of made it certain for me that I wanted to do music professionally and properly and earn a living out of it. And I
Mm,
wasn't afraid about how hard it would be, but that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to give it a try. I got such great feedback from whenever I did music, so I continued to write songs and release music, um, push myself on social media, perform live, and then yeah, and then that opened the doors to many performance opportunities, which still do
wonderful.
to this day.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's been such a great journey seeing that determination from childhood and then Brit and being able to access so many different opportunities. I wonder has because we both grew up in Croydon, South London, how has that kind of affected your journey as an artist? Has it kind of given a new context or kind of grounded you in any certain way?
Yes, because we small beginnings, it was a struggle. Till this, we still struggle. Like, and everything's
Yeah.
perfect in
Yeah.
different ways. Like, yeah, I grew up around an estate. Even when I was living with my mom, like we grew up around an estate, and um, yeah, it was like I didn't have the luxury of having everything I wanted at all. I had to work for it. I had to find a job, and whether, but usually the jobs I would do, thankfully, were performance related. So
Wow.
that everyone had to do their bit to bring in money.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of my funniest experiences was I think we were at I was at East Croydon one time and I just turned and I just saw you with like headphones on and just plugged in and just getting ready and I was like just seeing Shan, you've always been able to do all these wonderful experiences. How was the process of doing lots of gigs and things like that? How has that kind of crafted the way that you approach different roles now?
Yes, so that brings it. Having done loads of gigs, like I have now tried to master the art of like preparation and how important that is. So
Wow.
whenever I get something, I have to make sure I prepare well because then that means, then that I mean, despite the nerves, I will still be at least, where I need to be and at a good standard because I prepared. So having done all the gigs that I've done in the past, it's allowed me to um, manage my time and how I prepare for a role. and discipline. The discipline side of it is very key. And having done many gigs, I enjoy it, and I'm not scared of trying new things. I enjoy
Yeah,
every stage and every audience and every role.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have many, but in terms of, I'm sure we'll get into it in terms of musical theatre. I've only done a few, so but it's been a great influence, definitely.
Nice, nice. Because I think one of the biggest audiences you've had an opportunity is a national platform such as the X Factor. You know, being able to try that as a new experience for me and many others. It was such a joy to see you shining on stage. How was that process? Being on stage, knowing that you're performing to millions of viewers on such a treasured
Yeah.
talent show.
Even till this day, I'm like, there were a lot of people watching, right? It's weird when you don't see them. It's like I sort of don't worry about whoever's watching or how many people are watching. You're in the vicinity where you are now, so the venue there was only like about not even 1,000, less than that. Yeah,
Wow.
less than 1,000, if not a lot less.
Yeah.
So I just focused on the audience in front of me. I didn't
Ah,
really
nice.
focus on like, oh, there's that many people watching. I did know that, get it right because this is going to be on YouTube forever. People have these hidden
Forever.
cameras. So again, my thought of prepare well, because whatever happens on the night, as long as you prepared to some sort of standard, whatever
Yeah.
happens on the night will be okay, and that's what usually happened, and that's what I said to myself is once I get to the live shows, and that was a great goal of mine. I was like, as long as I do a good performance, I'm happy. No matter where I come in the show, as long as I'm happy with what I did on that night, then yeah, we're cool.
Yeah.
So it's not about, yes, know that there's a bigger picture and you have to give your best, but don't threaten yourself with like, oh, there's this millions of people. You're so busy anyway. You haven't even got time to even worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was really good just to see you shine and just kind of speak your own truth and be all authentic. I think what's been quite resonant during lockdown is seeing, a lot of artists kind of talk about their unique experiences on the X Factor. And I wonder whether any kind of challenges being, quite an independent black female artist on such a British institution, were there any sort of challenges you found there in terms of navigating your own truth and authenticity?
Um, Not really. Otherwise, I
Yeah,
think when it all was popping off last year,
yeah,
I understood and I sympathized with everyone that shared their story. But if there was something for me particularly, I would have said as well at that time. Um, no, it was because I came with such experience under my belt and I knew what I was going there for. I had a plan, as much as I didn't know where I was going to go in the competition. I had a plan, and I had a team to support me. The only thing that I was like not bothered me, it was just about, okay, I was like, I want to show more of my, there's so much more to me than just singing ballads. And
yeah,
I was just like, oh, I want to show different sides. I want to bring out my guitar. I want to sing more original songs. And I just didn't get that opportunity. But, it's a TV show and you just got to sometimes play by the rules. But in terms of like any racial discrimination, no, I held my ground, and I didn't really, as I said, having the experience helps, and the way in which you carry yourself, the way in which you interact with people, there was no room for that at all.
that's wonderful. And I
Thank
think there's so many different sides of you as you were saying, such a dynamic performer. So it's a joy to see you release "Get Back," a song that you performed in front of that hundred. I'm sure it must have felt. It definitely looked like 1,000 different music execs.
you
How is that
for that.
process of like like translating, having done the experts and then creating a music video and then being able to release your own music? How was that process?
Oh, it was lovely. It was really rewarding because prior to X Factor, I'd written a bunch of songs, co-written, and when the whole X Factor opportunity came, it was more the reason why I took on the opportunity was because I was like, I want to share my new music and have that opportunity, and I only got to do it once, unfortunately. Yeah, I only got to do it once.
Okay.
But which was the get back moment.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I had that one opportunity, and I feel like I did grab it, and I'm glad I took the opportunity to do it then at Simon's house in LA. I do, obviously I was very nervous, and I hear it whenever I hear it back. I'm just like, you're so nervous.
Really? Oh.
It's a great message, and people loved it, and I was able to then release it properly, and I did it on the tour as well. So it was really nice. It was like my thing that really represented me, and just when you have original music and it just holds you in it. So that's what it had. And to be able to release it properly and have the world enjoy it properly, it was really beautiful. Yeah.
That's cool. You just mentioned the tour there, and I know that you did like the tour of was it Whitney, Queen of the Night as well. Like, how would you describe the touring process as opposed to doing live theatre? And are there any key sort of preparation tasks or little things you did to kind of keep you going?
Touring is hard work in a different way, but it's touring the Whitney Queen of the Night. I did that for about 3 years. So once I finished university, I went on to touring. Yeah, that was great, and it taught me a lot. Like, you get your sort of independent style, and you're not at home and with your family. You got to think about the food. You got to think ahead all the time. It wasn't a tour where we'd stay in a city for a week or a month. We'd literally move every night. So that was crazy. Also how important it is to get on with people and create a great environment for your workspace, because then that affects your performance. It can affect your performance. And yeah, treat each show as a brand new show as the first time, because you are doing the same show, but it's a new audience. They're coming to, receive their energy and give it back. And it's a great experience. I recommend it. Like, people should experience touring. It may not be for everyone, and you may be like, yeah, this ain't for me, but try it, especially if you're young and you get the opportunity. Try it. You haven't got the responsibilities of family or house and stuff.
Yeah, good advice. I love that. A couple of years ago, I saw that they were doing a new Les Mis show. They had a new black actress, and I was delighted to see that it was you. I was so shocked. How did that process happen? Was it a call? Was it an email? I was just looking through the feed. I was like, yes, Shan. How did that come about?
They contacted my manager after the X Factor tour, so the casting agency, and they asked if I'd be interested in auditioning for Les Mis, and I was thinking, I was like, how do I fit into Les Mis? I just didn't see what they saw at the time, and also I was quite new to the show, although I'd heard of like the song "I Dreamed a Dream" from the TV shows, and I saw that the movie had been released and it was a big success, but I never got to watch it, so I wasn't familiar. I just knew it was like, highly rated and a classic, especially in the UK. And then I was like, okay, cool. Me and my manager, we just said, what's the worst that can happen? You can just audition and just see how it goes. So I was like, you know what? Yeah. And then I heard the soundtrack, listened to it through, and it's quite classical. And I was like, it was just different to me, and I was like, what? How? And then I heard on my own, and I was like, oh, and then it clicked. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, I can hear, and the storyline and Eponine. So I
yeah.
was like, okay, let me try, and I auditioned, and they seemed to they really liked me, and plus I'm very new in the acting world as well, so I didn't necessarily go to drama school to study acting. That was all music. It was all music based, and yes, I did a bit of dancing, but never really tapped into my acting side. So they saw something in me, especially like Cameron McIntosh and the casting directors, and
Mm,
they were out of me. So yeah, I was very pleased, and I never knew the big the size of it. I never knew like lame. I knew Les Mis was big, but I didn't know like
yeah.
it like that big. I was like, yeah, cool, it's Les Mis, that's cool.
That's wonderful. I think it's been a joy to see that acting kind of come out. I think, following your TikToks and things like that, it's just
Wow.
it's so evident to see that there's an actress in there, and I'm sure we're going to see more. And I'm a little bit biased, but You're on My Own is so resonant, it's so authentic, it's so raw, it's so deep. Like, what is that process like, sort of bringing yourself to it? How did you craft your own Eponine and make it your own? Was there any particular experiences, or how did you make it a unique portrayal?
Well, I definitely had to like dig deep and find something within myself, and also dig deep within her story, and
Um,
like analyzing her story and where she's come from and the hardships that she's been through. I don't know. It's very heartbreaking, and just understanding the story. That's the main thing.
mm,
But in terms of me, like I had to put myself in her position, and I can relate because I've we've all been like in a position where you like someone probably more than they like you, and you can, no
yeah.
matter how old you are, like I'm single, so I can always, every night I can be like on my own, that sort of thing anyway. So um and there's so much depth to her story and the story in general, the whole show, like especially like Little Fall of Rain as well, that's so dear to my heart, that song. And yeah, it's just like the way in which she imagines her ideal world, yet and compares it to her reality,
Yeah.
and yet just wants the best for Marius as well. That her heart is that big. It's just for someone to recognize it, and I feel like that a lot of that represents people that are living today and society today. We misunderstand people. We prejudge too quickly when
Mm,
all they want is to be loved. So there's
mm.
that come from it in that end, from that angle. There's a lot of pieces to it.
Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. And I think it's just a joy to see you get immersed into the world and having, been able to be part of the concert and then the actual musical as well. Like, what do you feel are the key qualities or the gems, being a performer, who's been able to just live and breathe in this world? What do you think has caused Les Mis to be around for more than 3 decades?
I think it's the content of the show,
Like,
and so that's the storyline and
yeah,
also the music. But the stories are so relatable when it tackles family, loss, and love. And then there's comedy as well.
yeah,
But things like they don't go away in life.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're all born into a family or some sort of family, and we all experience loss in some way. Like, so that content is timeless.
Yeah.
And the way in which the music is incorporated in that, the way in which it's composed. So Claude Schomburg, he's and the team, and bless their souls. I know a few of them have passed this last year.
Mm,
They're like the, the way in which they've like put the music to it is
mm.
just there's no words to describe it, but it's just amazing.
It's like
Amazing.
interweaving like the melodies and lyrics, and it's
And
second to
then
none,
just the
really.
instrumentation and the instrumental parts as well. Like, don't forget those bits. Those bits are key.
Yeah,
And lastly, the audience, like they keep it alive. Like the fans and people have been supporting Les Mis. Like they'll be young and then they'll be like, "Yeah, I've been supporting the show," and like, you can watch it from when you're. That's the great thing. You can watch it when you're young, and you can watch it throughout your life and still love it. And you don't. You're not. It's not like, oh yeah, I grew out of that. You don't have to grow out of Les Mis. You know.
that's so cool. That's so cool. So, do you see more musical theatre in your horizon? Are there any,
Definitely.
yeah? Are there like any key roles or any musicals you love or anything like that?
I am open to whatever is right for me at the right time, but I definitely would love to do more musicals. I've always loved musicals. I've watched a a good load of musicals anyway, and um, I I've auditioned in the past for musicals and I've been unsuccessful. So there's even stories about that. But I would definitely audition for roles, and I'm definitely open to it. I do enjoy shows that have that depth, like Les Mis. I suppose maybe it's because I've been in Les Mis, but I enjoy those shows that have the depth and the stories to them, which obviously every show does. But that depth, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do enjoy like the party feel good shows as well, and that might be cool to do after, especially after a show like Les Mis. I don't know. I'm quite open. There's a lot. There's a lot out there, isn't there?
There's so much scope. So much scope. Yeah.
But when I feel like when you do those deeper shows with like all these, that are quite like take you through that roller coaster, that emotional roller coaster, or that are quite serious, I just feel like that really taps into a different side of you and your acting skills. Like, yeah, it's a big challenge. I like challenges.
This is it. And there's your social media is flooded with all of those, the positive messages, the affirmation, self-love. I wonder, is there a particular role that, your faith or being, part of the strong family, does that play a part in the way that you approach characters and the way that you craft your artistic career?
Definitely, yes. It all plays a part. It all plays a big part, and it makes me who I am as well, and my confidence in how I approach roles or how I approach a song. Um, Sometimes I may be like, "Oh, I'm really nervous. I'm really scared, or I don't think I could. I'm not confident enough." But I'm like, you know what? My confidence lies in the Lord, and if He wants me to get this job, it will happen His way. I also because of my faith, there might be roles that I may not want to take on and do because maybe I feel like that's not the side I want to tap into right now, or like that's not aligning with my values, and that's perfectly fine, I think, as well. So we'll see. My family are so supportive of everything that I do, so they're happy as long as I'm like happy and pursue my goals, and they see great results, and that I'm personally, not just like physically, but personally and spiritually. Yeah, they're fully supporting, and I think it's so important to choose great roles, or put your heart and soul into it, because you're doing it for most of your time anyway. Like experiencing Les Mis, doing it 8 shows a week, I'm like, wow, this is a lot. Like obviously I did Whitney, and that was about 4 times a week. I get a break, but Les Mis, I don't know, it's different because we still would have to travel, and that would be quite draining as well. But doing a show every day and the same role every day, and like, yeah, it's just a different kind of thing. So you have to enjoy it. That's why I will be probably not picky, but I'll think carefully about what I do next.
Yeah, quite selective. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I think what you were just saying, it's so important to be authentic as an
Yeah,
artist and make sure that your values are always kind of being maintained. And what's been a joy as well is to see that, during lockdown, you've been able to remain authentic and kind of go back to your music as well. How's that been, sort of going back into crafting the album and songwriting and things like that?
that was great. I didn't expect to have all the time. So
Yeah.
the only thing I'm thankful for 2020 is that it allowed me to create and gave me the space and time to do it. It was really good to finally be able to release a project and like allow people to know, I don't know, just get more of a sense of who I am and my values and what I stand for and the kind of things I do talk about in a personal way, because the songs I had released have been all motivational, which is great.
Okay.
But I wanted to release something more personal, and I feel like we're still yet to get really into it, and I'm still working on music that really delivers that. So it was good. I was very appreciative of the time, as much as it was a tough, awful, difficult year, but we overcame, and good things were still birthed out of it. So I am very grateful, very, very grateful for that. And it was received so well, Braveheart EP. I didn't expect it to be received so well, but it was. And I was able to even do a short, I was able to do a visual EP alongside of it. So
yeah.
that's a first for me. And I'm really glad I was able to do that and have that. Now we have that forever.
Yeah, this is it. It's so good to see you tapping into new realms I'm pretty sure every single year you've done like new challenges and new things like that, which is so cool. And it's a joy to see that on social media as well. You're so giving and so vulnerable on social media. Do you feel like your relationship with social media has changed as you've developed as an artist? And how do you find like connecting with fans, being able to kind of maintain a sense of privacy but also openness as well?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
When I look back at like my old posts, I've always been quite open. I've just continued to do what I've always done, such as like I'll sing songs that I like, and then I will post something that really means a lot to me. I love reading great words and powerful quotes. Over time, as my audience has grown a lot more, I have been like, there's a lot of people like showing support or giving their opinions on what they see, and I'm like, okay. But I just try and, keep it positive and like keep it positive, keep it clean. I try. And just be me. Like there's no point in me being one way at home and then another way online. That makes sense. Like, I would just be myself. I don't have to give like my whole life and like be on there 24/7, but I want people to connect with me and to know that since they're inspired by my music, I want them to also know the person behind the music, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's social media is interesting because you do want to find that balance. I don't like go around like, yeah, guys, here's my house tour. I'm not that kind of person. Maybe I don't know if that will change one day. It could, but no, I think people they like me for the music, and that's how I've like positioned it all. So I will keep pursuing the music in that way and delivering and catering to the audience and giving them like positive words and encouragement that they may need for the day. And they seem to appreciate it. We all need, that positivity.
Yeah, that's so humbling. So humbling. So I wonder, if you were stranded on a desert island and you had Spotify Premium, but Spotify said you could only have 5 artists, which artists would they be? I feel like I might know one of them, or maybe 2, but which 5 artists?
I would ask you, what do you think the 2 of them would be?
I feel like one of them might be Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Potentially. And I'll just say Whitney because of the nature of our conversation.
Look, I love Stevie.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't have Stevie. That wouldn't be my top 5. I feel bad for saying that as well. I'm just like, well, he should be. He's amazing. I am a fan of Stevie, but I feel like there's a few more people out there that will probably. So I'd have definitely have a Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
I'd have Bob Marley.
Oh.
I'd have Maverick City Music.
Yes. It's kept me through, kept me sane.
Yeah. Oh, and they've got a lot of content, so that'll keep
Yeah.
me. Bob Marley, Whitney, Maverick City. I probably have. Ooh, I want to say Lauryn Hill, but
Oh, that's a good vibe. That's a good vibe.
just play that one album. Nah, she's got a few. She's got the unplugged one.
Unplugged, yeah. And I like, yeah, Miss Education pretty much changed the music industry, didn't it?
Literally, I'd have. Have I got two more? I'd have Gregory Porter,
Yeah.
and lastly, I would have. Oh, I want to say okay. There's another two. I want to say Sam Cooke, but then I want to say an artist called Bruno Major.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay.
heard of him?
I've heard of him, and everyone's like always said like, "Oh, you should listen to Bruno Major." And I'm like, I only know Mars. Who is this
Yeah,
Major?
I know. I'm like, who's this guy? But no, he's like, oh, it's so his music's so beautiful. It depends if you're into it, but yeah, it's just like wow, takes you to
Right,
a place. This is beautiful.
that's nice.
But I love Sam Cooke as well. He's got a great range. Reminds me of my growing up and stuff. So good,
Mm,
it'll bring good memories. It's got range of gospel, soul, poppy, not pop, but old school. Yeah,
yeah,
pop.
it's his tone just to die for.
Like I'm
Just
forgetting people, but
yeah. I know. I'd probably have to have like Spotify 100, pleay.
and then you
um,
can't get the name of his album.
yeah. Well, there we go. Schoenberg has definitely
Yes,
there.
that
His
whole musical take.
melody, Martin Guerre as well. Some of the other stuff they've done. So cool. Like, what advice? Just before we finish, what advice would you give to younger performers who are thinking about, taking a step into musical theatre? You've had a wonderful explosion into the industry and been able to shine incredibly brightly. So, how would you describe that process, or what advice would you give to young performers breaking in?
I always say like perfect your craft, your acting, singing, and dancing if needs to be. Perfect it. Your time will come when you want that big shine. But appreciate where you're at. I mean, appreciate the journey. Like enjoy, embrace the journey. I tell myself, I have to tell myself that as well. Like we all want to get to this end goal, but you have to remember the journey. So yes, perfect your craft, embrace the journey, and you know, use the right opportunities that come to you. Make the most of them. So whether that is social media and online or TikTok, oh, do it. If you feel the vibe. If it's an audition for something and you're like, do you know what, my heart's really cool, really going for this. Whatever happens, whatever the outcome, I believe there's something for you to learn out of it, or something may happen because sometimes you do things and you're like, oh, I didn't get that, or it didn't work out, or I didn't, didn't wasn't as successful as I thought it would be. But you never know. Someone may be watching in the future, a year down the line. They may be like, "Oh, we saw this video you did last year, or we saw you in the audition last year." And back then you were like, "Oh my God, I didn't do it." Or don't worry, just do your best in the moment, and God will take care of the rest. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
Cool. Wise words, wise words. Thank you so much for joining us in the room, Shan. It has been an absolute joy to journey through you and your story. Before we go, we always do a little quick fire. So I'm going to give you two options of different things, and you just have to choose which one. Are you ready?
I think so.
So, LA or London?
I'll say London. I've only been to LA once, but I want to go to LA. But London.
That's cool. Les Mis or Phantom?
Les Mis.
Strictly or X Factor?
X Factor.
Nice. Pasta or pizza?
What was that? Pasta or pizza?
Yeah,
Pasta.
pasta all the way. That's cool. Shakespeare or Dickens?
Ooh, Shakespeare.
Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. It was good. Thank you again for joining us. Love the answers. Love the answers. That's so cool. And again, thank you guys for joining us in the room. And look out for future interviews with stars across stage and screen from the UK, the US, and around the world.
Thank you so much.